What do you think of when I say the word accountability? Do you think of your old strict fifth grade teacher asking you for your book report? I thought so. And what do you think about when I talk about structure? Do you think of a rigid schedule that has zero flexibility and feels a little like prison? Yep, I thought you might think that. So here's the reality. When you want to achieve sculpted arms or anything, you need to have a plan. You need to have some guidelines, some things in place that help you know where you're going, how to get there, and signs that you've arrived. That's exactly what accountability and structure give you. They give you a framework for doing what you most want to do. These are things that you can create for yourself, by you, for you. So there is really nothing to rebel against. Let's take a look at how accountability and structure can very positively affect how you exercise and how you deal with food so that you can get what you want: toned, sculpted arms, losing that extra weight, and living your best life. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Arm Coach Podcast, episode 27. Today, we're going to work on understanding and thinking through how accountability and structure help you sculpt your arms. I was thinking about Arms by Christine because we're working on it right now. And I was thinking about what makes it work. You know, you have my program, which we put our clients through, but there are other parts of Arms by Christine that make it work because otherwise, everyone could just read a book and follow someone and get a plan, right? Something written out and do it on their own. But I want you to think about what helps you reach a goal. What helps you reach a goal is, yes, getting information, but it also is structure and accountability and camaraderie and guidance and getting feedback. These things, structure and accountability, make your life easier. They give you more time. They give you a better chance of reaching your goals. I want to tell you a little bit about what they are and why and how they work, and help you make a plan to incorporate both of these concepts, structure and accountability, into your life, right? Into whatever you're working on. Now, I know when you hear those words that you might have some negative connotations for both of them. I'm going to address that with you. So stick with me here because I'm going to give you some valuable information. Now, what is accountability? Why does it work? How do we use it? Here's the thing. Accountability means that you're allowing yourself to be held responsible for doing something that you hopefully want to be doing. In this case, working on sculpting your arms, working on your eating issues, you're working towards your goal. It would be someone or something helping you be responsible to yourself to take the steps you need to take to reach that goal. You might think of it negatively when you hear the word because possibly you're thinking, somebody's going to hold me accountable. That means somebody's going to really push me or somebody's going to be really hard on me. But that's not really what it is. It's for you. It's definitely for your benefit. And it's something that you put in place for yourself. Nobody can make you accountable. Yes, if you have a job, your boss might say, you need to be here from 9 to 5. And that might hold you accountable to your company, right? To your boss. But we're talking about your personal life, something that you want to achieve, some progress that you want to make, some goal that you want to reach. So being held responsible to those steps towards that goal is a good thing. It's what you want, right? One of the things that helps you be accountable to yourself is to really get clear on what your goal is and to say it out loud, because that puts it out there in the world and that helps you own it, take responsibility for it, be in charge of what you're doing. It helps you make it a priority. There are different ways to look at things that we've talked about before. We could just think it, but then we could take it to another level and say it out loud and let the people in our world know what we're working on. We could tell a person, somebody that's in your life, what you're planning to do, and then they know. And even if they're not coming to you every day saying, hey, did you do that today? Did you do that thing that you're trying to do? even if they don't do that, that somebody's kind of looking around, seeing if you're actually living up to what you said. Now, when it comes to your arms and your nutrition, when you have accountability, you're pretty much establishing guidelines for yourself. And one of the ways that you could do this is to think, how do I want to create a format, a framework, guideline where I know ahead of time what I'm going to do? Not every single moment, but generally a framework. So you might think to yourself, okay, I am going to always do blank, and I'm going to never do blank. I will mostly do blank, or I will rarely do that. So you can see how there's some flexibility in this, right? Nobody's making you do anything. But when you have these rules or guidelines, in your mind, that's something that will help you make decisions. When you do those things over and over again, that's when they become habits. And you know from listening to me that habits make your life easier. That's what accountability is, where you say what you're going to do, and you or somebody else or something else, and I'll tell you how to do that a little later on, but something or someone is helping you do what you say you're going to do. It doesn't have to only be you, but it can be only you. The second thing we're going to talk about adding into your life is structure. Structure is very connected to discipline. It's when you have a way of doing something that you can repeat over and over again, right? Like a routine or a ritual. And it's something that keeps you very grounded, because even though you're making this up and you're deciding what your structure should be, it's something that lets you follow a plan. It makes your life easier, just like accountability can. For this concept, you also might have a negative view of it. You might think to yourself, structure is boring. Why would I want to do the same thing all the time? Or why would I want to know what I'm going to do ahead of time? I'm a free spirit. I like to just go with the flow. But the reality is, when what you're trying to do is something new, or you're trying to change something, that's, going with the flow most of the time does not work. You want to get somewhere. Therefore, you've got to know the path that you're on. What is the path? The path is your structure, and it makes your life easier because it lets you really make sure that you're doing the things that matter. Now, when you think about structure with your arm workout or nutrition, just like we talked about how accountability can relate to that, I want you to think about what your routines are. Do you have a routine for where you lift weights? A routine for food, for planning, for prepping, for taking care of yourself? What is your plan? Do you know what you're going to eat day by day? Do you have a general plan that has some flexibility? I like to call that, and you may have heard me mention this before, some soft structure. Okay, it's structure, it's a guideline, but it has a little flexibility. And remember, you're the one that's creating it. When you are the creator of your structure, of your routine, there's nothing to rebel against, right? The more routines you have in your life, allowing for free time and allowing for flexibility and allowing time to be spontaneous, but the more routines you have, it really eliminates having to make a lot of different decisions and planning moment by moment, because the routines are already in place. It also, just like accountability, helps you build habits by being repetitive. This does not mean that your life's going to be boring and you're going to do the same thing day after day after day, but it means that you're following your own guidelines. I hope that you can begin to imagine what I'm talking about and put into your life so that you're not just floating around, not getting where you want to go. Remember, the whole goal of this is that this is for you. to help you do whatever it is that you most want to do. So, how could you use these two concepts in your life, and especially around the arm issues that we talk about here? Well, yes, of course, you know that I'm going to say that you could join Arms by Christine. You could join a group, and I hope that you do join me. You could also partner with a friend and make sure that you and the friend have a talk about how you want her to hold you accountable. What will feel good to you and what will feel maybe intrusive. You know how it is when you tell people that you're wanting to lose weight, you're wanting to eat a certain way, and you'll start eating in front of them, and that person trying to be helpful will say, "Are you sure you want to eat that?" And you'll go all ballistic because that's not the way that you want to hear it. But you have to tell them how you want to hear it. You could have a coach who's going to help you set up a plan. You could write down your own plan. But I want you to make sure that you put it in your calendar so it actually happens, right? It actually gets done. You could use an app on your phone or your computer, right? Something that's going to remind you and something that will help you track what you're doing. You could plan on Sundays. These are some different ways that you could build accountability into your life, into your week, into your day. So, how could you build structure into your life and into your day? One of the ways that you can, and this is one of the things that I do, is sometime in the daytime or in the early evening on a Sunday, I will look at my week. Okay. I will look at what's going on. I will look at when will I lift weights? When will I go grocery shopping? When will I prep some food? I'll look at what my menu is for the week, just approximately, and I'll look at when my additional workouts and walking, I like to walk, when my walking will be. Once you plan your food, then I want you to look at your self-care. Okay. And I want you to look at your fun and block that in there. You're planning ahead to give yourself some structure. It really would be good if you also decide what's your morning routine? What's your evening routine? What would feel good for you to do, to look at, to read, to get inspired, to get motivated, to remind you of your commitment when you wake up in the morning? What would start your day off right? And what would end your day on a good note? What would make you feel good when you get into bed? It might be reviewing your day, thinking about what went well, because you always have to look for that. Your mind's going to want to go to what didn't go well. But what are you grateful for? When you're putting structure into your life and your week, I also want to remind you that you need to make some time to think, not just a plan, but I want you to build into that calendar, into this structure, time to just be, time to not be running around and trying to cross things off your list, time to be and think about where you are, who you are, and what you're doing. And that will help you stay focused on reaching that goal. So if your goal is to sculpt your arms, right? Change the way you eat, get rid of the extra weight that you might be carrying, then I want you to set yourself up for success. The way you do that is to create some accountability for yourself and to create some structure. But remember, the structure created by you needs to feel good. And so does the accountability. You know that every time we have a session, or at least most of the time, I'm going to give you an action step because listening is good, but taking action on it, right? Taking action on it is what will create real change. So here's your step for this coming week. Here's what I want you to focus on and do. I want you to look at your life right now. Is there anything in your life that helps you be accountable to you? Is there a person that you talk things over with? Is there a group that you're in? Do you write things down? Do you make a plan and see if you can stick to it? Is there structure in your life? Do you have some guidelines for the way that you're operating in the world? Do you have any routines? Most importantly, Do you have any routines that feel good? Or does everything that you're doing take a lot of willpower and feel kind of forced? If you force yourself, you're probably looking at it as very black and white, but you're not giving yourself the structure, the guidance that you need to get things done. And I don't just mean the to-do list, I mean for you. So that's what I want you to think about, to do a little reflection on where you are right now with accountability and structure. Okay. All right, my friends, that's it on this subject and for our coaching session today. I'll see you all next week.